Winner's Circle, the podcast for all Averitt associates, no matter where you are or what you do. Don't forget to subscribe on your podcast app of choice so you can be sure not to miss out on new episodes. And now, LTL Operations Leader and host of the Winner's Circle, Amos Rogan.
Hey everybody, welcome to 2025 here on the Winner's Circle podcast. And we hope that you had a great Christmas break and ready to get going this 2025 New Year's season. And we hope that you were able to hear Mr. Sasser's Christmas message on the From the Driver's Seat podcast that was recently put out. So talking about 2025, and it's an exciting time for us always to get a new year started. And I can't think of a better way to talk about what is coming up and what to be excited about in 2025 than these three gentlemen that we have. And they're so important to who we are as a company and as an operation. And it's our Vice President of Operations, our Vice President of Dedicated, and Vice President of Corporate Transportation, Larry Mason, Dan Singer, and Danny Crooks. Gentlemen, welcome to the Winner's Circle. Thanks for joining us. So I want to ask you all, because I feel like over the years, we've always just kind of realized we are capable of doing things that we honestly didn't think that we were capable of doing before. But suddenly we go back and we look and lo and behold, we're doing it anyway. And I'll start with Larry. Larry, what do you think in 2024 that we were capable of that you feel like that we're going to be able to really move forward in 2025 and grow our business and our customer base with?
Question there, Amos. So we got so many things that are going on right now. Well, first of all, we constantly talk about, you and I particularly talk about KPIs and what we're capable of doing. Well, the level of KPIs that we've achieved, not only this in 2024, but in 2023, is a level that we never really thought was possible until recently. And we feel like that we can go further than that through technology, through innovation, through all these things that's going to get us to the next level. Furthermore, and I know we'll probably talk more about this, but the business units themselves, that we've all come together, and the things that we've been able to do collectively as a team and as a group, and this commingling of different groups for a single customer's calls and a single solution for a customer is something that we have really expanded to greater depths as well. So I think that's just the beginning of it.
And, Danny, particularly in truckload, you all kind of went through a little bit of a model change and kind of saw what some things that you were able to accomplish in 2024 to really get your all models set for growth in 2025, right?
Yeah, Amos, thank you for the question. Thanks for having us. To follow up a little bit on Larry's there, talking about the different business units and the verticals that we have working together. You don't find that at very many other companies. A lot of people get in their silos and they don't play well with others, so to speak. But we all are all for one and one for all, and really have collaborated a lot. And I guess we'll get into that as well. But yeah, our change, we've really focused on the core and some really. Larry said KPIs. That's something we've tried to identify the ones that make the biggest difference and the ones that we can try to move the needle on. And we really are taking what we did in 2024 to higher level in 2025 with respect to detention. That's something that we really tackled, went after hard, driver delay with customers. And we were able to reduce our stop time from an average of about 90 minutes down to a little less than 60 minutes on our average stop. So those sorts of things will carry on, and we'll continue to meet those KPIs, and then set the bar even higher and try to continue to improve on that. But the things we're really focused on are productivity and efficiency in our network, and getting more miles per truck, more miles per driver, more driving hours per day, and fewer empty miles, and less detention, less delay. So that's where we're at, and kind of the launch pad for kicking off 2025.
And Dan, looking at dedicated, we saw a little bit of a shift in accounts and things of that nature, but it really gave us an opportunity to look at some equipment and refresh some things and just really put ourselves in position for growth in 25, right?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of things that I feel like we had some challenges last year. Lots of positive takeaways though, but there's really one example that I wanted to call out that I just think demonstrates our capability, and not just within the dedicated business unit, because it took the whole company, really, power of one, and that is the Costco implementation that we went through. The challenge that they presented us with was in the space of 5 weeks to onboard over 130 drivers, and I would venture to say that in the company's history, we have never. And granted, we had some lead time, prep time to get ready for that, but I don't know that we have ever put up an operation with that many associates in that kind of time frame. And it was multiple teams that worked on this: recruiting, HR, driver services, our equipment team, truckload, and LTL. I mean, heck, Larry, we LTL loaned us, I don't know, 40, 50 tractors. What we reassigned some new trailer assignments. It was a really, I think, impressive task to get that completed. And again, we had to get over 130 tractors, 130 associates in place, all the associated leadership. I just think like it was a really impressive accomplishment.
It really was. And talking about collaboration, it's not always, and a lot of things. Well, let me put it this way: collaboration doesn't always mean that an LTL driver and a truckload driver or a dedicated driver is going into the same customer. There is a lot of collaboration that is going on within the business units that is talking about how we spec our equipment, how our technology, and how the integration of our technology and things of that nature. I would be interested in your all's perspective in not just talking from the customer standpoint, because those are obvious and those are the ones that we put up on the billboard types of things. But there's a lot of behind the scenes collaboration that we do. How do you all see that moving forward in 2025? And where do you think that the collaboration between our business units are really going to be able to be accentuated this year? Larry, I'll start with you.
Well, this goes back to your last question about what we never thought was possible, but we're starting to think is possible, and that's equipment. Dan touched on it. Danny touched on it. We've all kind of been somewhat siloed in our equipment. Dedicated had theirs, truckload had theirs, LTL had theirs, and we're getting to the point where with new systems, new technology in the near future, we're going to be able to better utilize one another's equipment if needed and when needed without a lot of trouble. Today, we can do that. Physically, we can do that, but there's a lot of behind the scenes work that has to be done to switch over a computer or to do something different. Furthermore, better usage of our equipment. But doesn't matter which vertical you're talking about, but getting better utilization out of our equipment. One of the things that we all do very well together, when we sit down every year, we think about what do we need to purchase from an equipment standpoint each year. Well, we have the flexibility, and that's what's great about us is we could start the year by saying, hey, we want to buy, 250 day cabs and we want to buy 50 sleepers. Well, all of a sudden, Danny's business levels go crazy next year and LTLs remain somewhat stagnant. We change those day cabs to sleeper units, and now all of a sudden, Danny's got 200 trucks and we got just 50 or 100 day cabs for Dan and I. So we've made ourselves extremely flexible moving forward, and that's because of that collaboration between everybody.
And Dan, obviously you kind of tipped me off with that question as far as collaboration goes and mentioned Costco, but what are some of the other areas, maybe in the technology area, those types of things that you see that the collaboration can really help us moving into this year?
Well, one really big one is one that Larry touched on in technology. We've already begun implementation process of a new platform called Mastery. ultimately, that will be the single platform that the entire company operates on. And as Larry said, right now we can share equipment, but it's not easy. It's not seamless. Once we're fully rolled out and implemented there, a tractor is a tractor is a tractor. It's available to any one of the operating units. And I know we're kind of talking more about kind of the behind the scenes collaboration as opposed to what the customer kind of sees on the facing aspect of it. But I don't think you can understate the amount of advanced collaboration that has to go into effect to be successful in pulling off the operations like we do with Essex Bargain Hunt, where we are literally dedicated drivers and LTL drivers are sharing the same tractor, or Cracker Barrel with just the collaboration between the integrated team with Averitt Enterprise and our ADF and Portside team for the dray transload operation, and our dedicated fleet that is by design making sweeps through Savannah to give them closed loop and working closely with the ADF team. So just examples like that, I don't think you can understate the value of and the importance of what it takes to get to that point. Because I'll say this, I don't believe that we have a competitor in the marketplace that has the capacity to bring to bear the services that we have. So when it's like Kent always likes to say, we want to have multiple verticals servicing a customer, because when we're able to do that, we don't have a competitor. So I think our relationship gets twice as strong when we have two verticals, and it just goes from there. Three verticals, three times as strong. We just become more entrenched and more important to our customer.
But I think it's important that people understand too that those verticals do not mean that we're segregated at all. And I think that's the point. Danny made a great point earlier that other companies that would have other divisions, they're truly divided. I mean, they are other divisions, and they may not even talk to each other. They may not even be on the same property in the same real estate. And so anyway.
Yeah, we sit down together every Monday.
Yeah, yeah, and that's a great point. And kind of referring back to a previous podcast that we had with Stephen McDonald and talking about Averitt Integrated, Danny, I know that truckload benefits greatly from the Averitt Integrated group and that business unit in looking at opportunities to get truckload drivers loads and really trying to match everything up based off of what they're bringing in. They're trying to put things on red trucks first, as well as looking at dedicated opportunities for things that they might need help and backup with, all those types of things. So you guys kind of are somewhat of the catch-all of the group, right?
Yeah, it's been crucial that our integrated group, they're in our top 10 as far as number of loads that we get. As if you looked at them as a customer, they're one of our largest sources of loads and freight, and we influence that with them, with Steve's team, daily communication. Being on the same floor, we get up and walk over and have conversations about here's some areas that we got, not just for today, but the rest of the week, and here's where we're going to need some help, and or here's where we'd like to have some additional business. So yeah, it's very beneficial to us and Ed's team and Averitt Distribution Fulfillment. We hadn't been that many years ago when we wouldn't even truckload wasn't even thought about draying containers off the ports or coming inland with containers and or getting business out of our own warehouses or taking business loads and freight into our own warehouses. So we've evolved and continue to bring in new opportunities. And with each one of those, every time Dan's group's making calls or LTL or truckload directors are out there, we're selling all of our capabilities. And sometimes it doesn't pan out for the unit. The truckload reps in there looking for some truckload freight, but we come out with maybe a dedicated opportunity.
Hey, and Danny, that I think Pepsi is probably a really good example in terms of it's an ADF customer, it's a truckload customer, it's a dray customer, it's an integrated customer, and I'm not sure who got there first, but regardless, I think we're able demonstrate pretty quickly that that Pepsi was able to trust and value our service, and they felt it appropriate to bring in additional service offerings.
And I think that's what we bring to the table is we bring that, when our salespeople are in a customer, it's not always, they may go in with one intention and come out with something completely separate than what they went in with. I think one of you mentioned it a minute ago, but that's how we get started typically. If we can get in and get something, and then we can just start talking about all the other things that we do, and it just starts to grow and grow wings, and you turn around and it's like a Pepsi, and it's huge account to our overall corporation.
So I want to kind of put two questions together here for the sake of time, first and foremost. But also, I think that we've kind of covered a little bit of this, but I want to get a little bit more perspective on it. We've hit on the power of one and how awesome it is for us to be able to sell a one single source solutions type of provider, in that's who we are to our customers. And it's really our culture in what we emulate forward to those customers and saying, hey, we're not competitive amongst each other. We just want your business. We've had to work really hard over the course of 53 years now to reach to that point where we're getting recognized by Mastio and Quest for Quality and so many individual customer awards, and then looking out outwardly and how we handle and treat our people and our associates through, the women in trucking and military and things of that nature that highlight us as a preferred employer of those groups. So with all that being said, one of the things that I've heard each one of you say, as well as Mr. Blakely and even Mr. Sasser, we can't rest. We can't slack back on any of this. We got to keep on pushing the ball forward and trying to continue to be the best. So in your all's perspective, and Danny, I'll start with you. How do we use our culture to make sure that we don't get complacent and continue to be the best out there in the industry?
Yeah, that's tough. We could probably talk all day, but that's something Gary's always said that resonates, is proud of the past, but more excited about the future. And we've had an excellent past, but the groundwork that we've laid and the fundamental and the culture that he and our early leaders developed, and that we were, I guess you could say, raised on and raised within that culture is second nature. And if we get we select and retain the best of the best and teach our leadership the culture that we want to embrace, and that allows us to have a can-do attitude about anything that that comes our way. So that's something that we've really have to focus on and hold dear and cherish what we have and make sure that we never lose it. Talking about culture, just a quick note. One thing I'm proud of our team. I didn't have a lot to do with it, but on tour logistics, we came into an industry that basically shunned us and said, "You guys haul freight, and you need to get out of here. You don't know what you're doing." And last year, we were essentially won the Oscar for trucking company in the entertainment space for the Parkelli Award. So we're seen now as a key leader and actually was referred to as a legacy carrier by Rock Lidditz in the recent convention that they held. So only been around 10 years and we're a legacy carrier. So we came in not supposed to even be there to being one of the dominant players in that space. So we can do whatever we put our mind to.
Definitely. How about you, Dan?
Well, complacency. I'm not, since the day I arrived. That's been a topic of conversation with Mr. Sasser, Mr. Spain, on through to Mr. Blakely. The way I've always come to think of it, and this is how I communicate with my folks, complacency is the silent killer of any world-class organization. So if you ever think that you have arrived, you do not need to be here anymore. and I think we do a really good job of avoiding complacency. Whether it's how we constantly talk about and actually act on. We don't just talk the talk, and we walk the walk on developing our associates, making them the best they can be at their positions, identifying leaders of the future. I mean, I think the other three guys can definitely tell you that has been one of the hottest topics for 5 years now, making sure that we are protecting our future. And in order to do that, we need to be looking out at least 10 years. Who's going to be leading the company 10 years from now? Excuse me. We also do it with our equipment. I think our fleet is newer than it's ever been. I think many people have been the proud recipients of our investment in upgraded and expanded properties, real estate, technology. We've touched on that. So I think it's just ingrained in our culture that we're built not to rest on our laurels, and it makes it a really great place to be. So,
Larry?
Yeah, and our culture is allowed for creativity. So I mean, we want everyone to think about what's the next OTL, what's the next ADF. All these things came out of customers' needs, and none of them, to my knowledge, came from it was never a top down thing. It was more of somebody found that there was a customer need and they brought it to the organization, and we researched it as we always should, but it became what it is today. And so most everything that we've done has come out of a customer's needs, but it's been fostered by our culture that's allowed for our associates to think that way, to think, hey, I do have an opinion here, and we can never let that go. That's why we got to keep fostering that kind of environment for all of our people.
Yep. You're a prototype in that, Larry. Think back to VF years ago.
Well, I mean, if you think of OTL, now Danny may have a different way of putting it, but I mean, I'm pretty sure that was something we brought to the table, probably you and Scott or somebody else, and said there's a need in the industry. And probably, I imagine some people laughed at you a little bit and thought, really, we're going to get into the entertainment industry? But man, it's been one of the most successful things we've done. And then you can go back, and then we can even tie this together with what we talked about earlier, collaboration and our flexibilities and all this kind of thing. Because, the OTL world, it's not a 12-month kind of operation. I mean, it slows down drastically this time of the year. And then we have some of our OTL drivers supporting our dedicated teams right now. And that's the kind of flexibility, collaboration, all those things that we have as an organization.
Great point.
Well, gentlemen, thank you so much. I think that there's a lot of excitement in 2025 for the Averitt team and for the Averitt family, and appreciate your time coming on here, and just looking forward to great results moving forward. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you, Amos. Appreciate it.
So, folks, we've talked so much about so many things, but the biggest thing about what we try to do year after year is get better, improve our services, improve our product quality, improve the customer experience. And oh, by the way, while we're doing all that, develop the best and brightest that we can, so we can enjoy that promoting from within culture and mentality, to where we're just continuing on forward and making sure that every year that we move forward, we get better along the way. And ultimately, that's the winner's circle: our customers, our associates, and our future. And the success of the winner's circle overall is being able to be open-minded, open-hearted, and embrace a little bit of change, even though it might be a little bit scary sometimes. So moving forward in 2025, there's going to be some changes, and it's going to be okay. One of those changes is that you're going to see a new face here on the Winner Circle podcast moving forward after this episode. I want to say, first of all, thank you. I want to say thank you for allowing me to spend a little bit of time with you, just to show you how awesome of a group of people that we have, that we call the Averitt family, working together as one body, trying to do the very best that we possibly can, and highlight those folks to show how our culture has been able to enhance them personally and professionally moving forward in their walk, in their career path. So thank you for those opportunities. I want to say thank you for doing everything that you do on a daily basis to make us the carrier of choice, but also what you're going to do to set that bar higher. So thank you for allowing me for the last 26 years to be part of the Averitt family. And I want to say God bless you, be safe, and we'll talk to you on down the road. Thanks very much.